Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Otakuology podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is Jin. He has a dinosaur named Rory Graves.
I don't know if this is the fucking upside down. Aren't you Jen Graves and I'm technically Otaku Mike?
I guess so. I'm Otaku.
Whoa.
I'm Otaku Jin.
Um, I'm Mike Graves. I don't know.
And today we are talking about episode 2 of Stranger Things, The Weirdo on Maple Street. This was a really good episode. Like, it was a solid episode, I feel like.
I think this is and I forgot how early this episode was. This is the first good episode of season 1 that actually has like a lot of stuff in it. Like
There's a lot.
character shit, a death. We get to see kind of sort of the face for the first time of the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Other things like that. We get to understand like how the Upside Down ended up becoming the Upside Down. Why
Sort
it was
of.
named
Sort
that.
of.
Why it was named that. Some other shit like that.
Well, they don't really call it the Upside Down yet.
No, it'll happen in the next episode, but I didn't even think about it the past like other times until 11 flipped the board over and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, that would make sense why they call it the Upside Down. I've never thought of that before.
Yeah, there was some stuff that like I missed here and there.
Yeah.
Like possibly when watching it the first time and rewatching stuff and having that hindsight of like what we've already know about the series and stuff and what's happening, all little details that like were probably happy accidents, to be honest, for some of this.
Yeah.
But like because they were kind of making things up as they went along and whatnot. But our story starts out with they're in, was it, they just get back from the rain where they find 11 out in the rain.
Right.
And they're in Mike's basement and they're like, oh my God, like what was she doing out there in the woods? Does she know where Will is? Like,
You know what? I had a good opener thing for this too, and I completely forgot about it. I was going to try and get you to use it. And it was that, hey, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are at?
it's 10 o'clock. Yeah. Because they were just out and about. Like, I feel like these kids are so, like, under supervised.
Yes. And their basement has a door to go out, and I feel like they never lock it.
Yeah. And so, like, they're talking to her, and, like, they're like, oh my God, like, she's a girl. And she starts taking off her clothes, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a girl! Ah, I can't see the girl naked."
Go to the bathroom.
That part was so funny. Watching them try to deal with 11, because obviously she doesn't know anything really about, like, I don't know, like modesty, I would say.
Yeah.
In a sense, like she just kind of is just there. She doesn't have any like real common sense at the moment because she's just been living in a laboratory for all they know, or they don't know this at this point. But
Well, and not only that, but I mean, jumping into future episodes, just a tad bit, all of the kids at the lab all basically wore underwear and gowns.
yeah,
Like that's basically all the clothes they had. So, I mean, it makes sense in this with that knowledge that yes, that is why all of them were that way and why they probably all don't see modesty in that way of anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's really funny and like Lucas, honestly, judgmental asshole.
See, and I always thought about that in this season that Lucas was very judgmental of Elle for a lot, and it was for me at what episode in this / into the next season did that trigger kind of swap for Lucas.
Yeah, because he's very much like they think, or he thinks at least, like maybe she came from like the mental hospital. That's like a
Yeah.
town over, I believe.
Yeah.
and they're like, once we get her back, we can look for Will. We don't have to deal with this. Like, we need to go tell, Mike's mom. And like, the others are kind of like not really there for that. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Dustin is, but like Mike's not, obviously. But yeah, just seeing like the judgment on Lucas, I'm like, not a good look on you, buddy.
Yeah.
Not a good look on you. Well, especially like how he talks about her. Like he talks about 11 and talks about like about 11 to the other guys. Like he
Yep.
calls her like a freak and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. And that she's more of an it than a person. And
yeah, it's
yeah, yeah,
it's interesting way to look at it, which I don't think I ever really noticed like the first time I watched this. Probably, you
yeah.
know, um, but after this, don't we actually move over to the school with Nancy?
Um, mm,
No.
maybe? No, I think we go to the buyers.
Okay, we go to the buyers. That's right. We go to the buyers
Yeah,
because um,
because
Will's mom,
yeah,
she blew out the phone, right?
Joyce, Joyce.
Joyce blew out the phone.
Yeah, something happened to the phone,
Yeah, because she heard
which
Will's
I
voice.
didn't know that was actually based on something real that can happen. Did you know that old rotary phones connected that way could they actually had a warning at some point that was don't use it during an electrical storm because electricity could shoot through the phone into your brain.
No, I did not know that, but I did know electricity can shoot through your walls, like through like the
Yeah.
wires and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
If
I didn't know that that could happen. And
if
I
they like if like a lightning strikes your house at the right moment,
yeah,
like it can travel through like your like to like your circuits and like your outlets and stuff,
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe.
Start a fire.
Yeah.
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 Um yeah, but we have Jonathan where he made breakfast. You can tell that
Oh yes, that's right. That's right. See, a lot of
yeah,
things are like jumbled up together at this point for me, but
you're like
yeah,
I'm running through a tunnel.
I'm running through a tunnel basically right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
cuz
He
cuz we do this and he makes it and you can tell like Joyce is stressed out and so I don't think Joyce has eaten for a few days or not a few
no.
days,
No.
but at least a day. And so Jonathan's trying to make sure that she's taken care of, which I will tell you, like, I knew that they were kind of like more offset, like more poor out of the four boys.
Which I actually just realized that. Like
Yeah,
rewatching this, I was like looking around like their house and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Like I'm like they're a lot more poor than we think.
yeah. Well, and I had kind of thought about that, but the one big thing that made me think about it more was where they were talking about again other seasons was why Will's hairstyle was a bowl cut the whole time.
Why is that?
It was a bowl cut because he couldn't afford haircuts, so they would do the traditional, you put a
Uh,
bowl on your head and your mom would cut your hair.
oh yeah, yeah, I can see that now. Yeah,
And
yeah, no,
then
because they were like
the
going.
the
They,
actor always hated it because he was like, "Can I change my hairstyle?" And they're like, "No, like it's a representation of like the poverty of the buyers."
well, he changes it like sort of in the last season. I
Yeah,
think it
so the
was.
the last season was the big one where he actually got to change it and he was like, "Yes."
Yeah, and like no, like noticing like in this episode, like just like the way things look around the house, like it's not very like upkept, you know.
Yeah.
Like maintenance wise, I would say it's not upkept a lot. Just like everything's very weathered. It looks very weathered, I would say,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's very much you can see like they are like probably right at the poverty line in the 80s,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe right below it. I don't know exactly because Jonathan and Joyce are working jobs, which
Yeah.
which I didn't notice that this takes place around Christmas time.
Yeah.
I don't know why I never noticed that. Like when because Joyce goes to the store that she works at and they're playing Christmas music.
Yeah,
I just never fucking picked up on that. And I love this scene because we're gonna jump ahead a little bit. I feel like we're gonna jump ahead. I love the scene when she comes in. She's like, "I need this phone," and it's like, well, like $20 something for this phone.
yeah.
And Joyce tells her boss that, hey, I need like an advance on like my
Two
pay. I think it's
weeks.
well, she
2 weeks.
says a week, and she's like, no, I need 2 weeks, this phone, and like a pack of cigarettes or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, well, I gotta like pay so and so, what makes me wonder, like, how well is this business actually doing?
That's true.
And I want to know,
I,
I want to know how much was 2 weeks' pay in 1983.
I'm sure you could look it up at like a general store. How much was pay?
Yeah,
Um, obviously enough to have somewhat two cars and a house and everything.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, so going back to this thing with them, I wondered what the breakfast would look like that Jonathan made, and I don't know why I hyper focused on it this time, but how was that different than the breakfast that like the Wheelers had?
yeah, yeah. No, true. Like, it was fairly the same, but I think like Jonathan possibly like made the waffles that they had. I think they had like waffles or pancakes, but like Mike's
I
family had
no,
like
I think
Eggo
they had
waffles.
I think they had toast and eggs.
Did they have toast and eggs? Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah, Mike's family like had like
they have
Eggo waffles
they
and
have
stuff.
Eggos, they have bacon and eggs and like full course meal almost.
Yeah,
Um, you know. And
which
obviously, do you think that the Wheelers feel like they have to take on some of that responsibility because like we had that whole first interaction in episode 1 where it was Joyce contacting Mrs. Wheeler. I can't remember what her name is.
Mrs. Wheeler, I
Um
don't remember what her name is either.
yeah, about, did Will stay over there? And like it seemed like she was more prone to say yes for Will to stay over at Mike's house than it was for like Lucas or Dustin.
Yeah, yeah, probably maybe like they probably looked out for each other, and they
Yeah.
probably knew like that Will comes from a broken family
Yeah, yeah.
because they'd
See,
mentioned.
and I going off topic just for a second. I really want to see a spin-off of and it doesn't have to be that many episodes. I mean, it can be a mini series of how all these people went to school together.
So you might actually get your wish because they were kind of talking about that, doing like a like before Stranger Things type of thing
Hell yeah.
with like Hopper and Bob and Joyce and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I don't,
yeah,
because I know they did like the stage play with like we're getting out there with like Victor Creel Vecna, I think it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
They did the stage play, which like was called like the first
Hen-
shadow or whatever.
Henry.
Henry Creel.
You said
Sorry,
Victor, and I was like, see, you and I do the same thing because that there is a Victor Creel and stuff.
I think he was in Stranger Things.
No, not Henry Creel. That's in Stranger Things. Victor Creel is like a DC supervillain or something.
Is he?
Yeah,
But yeah, so like I don't know if that project got up off the ground or not. But we'll have to see. But yeah, it's interesting to see like who knew who and stuff like that because it feels like not many people got out of the town of Hawkins, you know.
yeah.
And I love this scene where
Okay,
we.
Victor's the dad.
Okay, Victor's the dad. Okay,
Yeah,
that's probably why I remembered it. Because he was in the insane asylum in like the last season or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, which hindsight is 2020. Uh, but I love this scene where like they're all sitting down for like breakfast. Like Mike and his family are sitting down for breakfast, and like they get like this little like argument with Nancy and him, like, oh, what'd you study last night, Nancy? Anatomy, you know? And
Yeah,
just seeing like Mike like hide food and like scarf down those fucking egos. I was
right.
like, I wonder how many times he had to shoot that.
Oh man, right. Hopefully not very many, because
Which
they you can tell by the angle that it could have just been like one take and then they turned around and did it.
yeah, and he like probably had a bucket of like food near him that he would spit out. Probably that's what they do usually. And
Yeah,
like him like hiding food, and like he goes to 11 and tells 11, like he starts to figure things out. He starts to figure things out, and he's like, oh, like my name's Mike, what's your name? And she's like 11, like she points to her tattoo, like I'm 11. And like she's trying to tell him like bad people are after him or after her, based not him, but I guess
yeah.
them. And I love the scene where he's like, yeah, go around front, ring the doorbell, and tell my mom you're my friend and like you need help. And she's like, no,
And she'll
I'm
help you.
not doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm not doing that whatsoever. But I did actually find out what the minimum wage was and how much you would actually get for
Okay,
2 weeks worth of. So if you worked 80 hours and like for 2 weeks, you
yeah.
would have got like $268.
Hey, that could have worked out.
What?
I said, hey, that could have worked out.
I mean, it could have worked out. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
stuff
could
was a
have.
lot cheaper back then.
I know stuff was a lot cheaper back
Um,
then. Which I wish I had a phone that was like $20.
right?
I
I
mean,
was
it is
like,
what it is.
how could you do that and like make a thing where you could put your phone on it and then still use it like a rotary phone? That'd be pretty cool.
I mean,
I'd be calling your ass all the time on my rotary
they
phone.
they kind of had that. If you went a couple of years ago when Stranger Things popped off, like they had like an attachment where you could have like the rotary phone,
Yeah,
and you would have to carry it around with you, and it would plug into your like smartphone.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so there was a whole thing. But yeah, but it's interesting to see like the juxtaposition between like the two families, which I don't feel like maybe most people didn't really notice. Because I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about, and this is where we actually get, if I remember correctly, if I'm remembering the order of this, we get Hopper shows up right at the buyer's residence.
yeah. Because it's right. So backing up from the Wheeler breakfast at the buyer breakfast, that's when Joyce is still freaking out and she hears a knock at the door and it's Hopper, and that's where she freaks out and she's like, you were supposed to be here 6 hours ago. What's been going on?
And he's like,
And
"Look, I was doing the best I can, okay?"
yeah, because he was like, we basically surveyed and walked around all the way, like, I think 3 cities over or something.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
he talks to them, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard from Lonnie?" Which Lonnie is Joyce's like ex-husband, I believe it is,
yes.
and he's the dad to the two kids, and Lonnie is like a fucking deadbeat. Yeah, like he hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, and every time I think I like close off part of my memory with a lot of shit from him, because every time we get to the point where Jonathan goes to visit him and he gives Jonathan the line of, good, there's one kid that ran away and the other one that's just running wild. It always pisses me off, like,
What is that?
unnerved.
What is
Well,
that?
because he's like Jonathan obviously cares and wants to find Will, and he came, and then his dad wants to say how bad of a mother Joyce is because she didn't tell Jonathan to come. He came of his own volition, and instead of your kid like having his own brain, you're like, your mother's a fuck up.
Yeah, and like at one point, he
Like,
like
he rubs me the wrong way, like, for every fucking thing.
I mean, it's good. I mean, I feel like he's supposed to rub you the wrong way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's obviously not like a good parent,
yeah.
and I don't
I
think he ever shows back up in the show, right?
He does.
He
He
does?
he doesn't after the first season, but he does later on in the first season.
Okay, okay.
Because remember, he comes back to town and he actually does one of those almost like GoFundMe things, like, "Hey guys, send us money to help look for Will."
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But my favorite thing in the Lonnie scene is where Jonathan comes out and he's looking for him. You have that whole bullshit speech with Lonnie and Jonathan, and then as Jonathan's going to leave, is her name Christy?
I think it is like
The
Christy, yeah.
the girlfriend walks out and she goes, "Oh, maybe I should trade you in for the newer model. He's cute."
Yes.
And I'm like, "Fuck you, Lonnie. That's exactly what needs to happen."
I mean, basically, he traded in Joyce for a newer model.
That's
So
true.
why not have history repeat itself with Christy hooking up with Jonathan, which I don't even know how old Christy is, but
I don't know. She kind of gives me like Coke vibes. He does too,
yeah.
but you know,
Yeah, no, because their house was very disheveled, it seemed like. Yeah, that's one thing I thought of. Like, maybe she was like a Coke fiend or something, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, or like on something. Because, like, I mean, Lonnie is a very unsavory person.
definitely so.
Very unsavory. um, but yeah, we see this, then we actually end up going over to the school where Nancy is being sort of tutored by Barb because they're studying for a test, and Steve happens to show up. Steve the Hare Harrington with his lackeys, Tommy H,
To-
and
yeah,
I forget who the other person was because I don't think they show up really ever. And after this,
yeah.
uh,
They show up later on in this season too. They're kind of like Lonnie. They disappear, and then we'll see him one more time at the beginning of season two,
oh,
and
here's the
that's it.
thing, because like we have like our core cast of characters,
Yeah,
and then there's like characters that come in and out sporadically, so I don't remember all the characters
yeah.
like ever showing, because once they get out of high school, a lot of these people don't show back up.
That's true. That's true. Well, and I mean, you know, everybody has a change of heart too, which, given part of that is understandable with how, um,
How like everything happened.
yeah, well, also like Steve going from being like such a like cool guy
Yeah,
into like caring more. Like
a somewhat responsible young
yeah,
adult.
yes, you
Steve
got it.
Steve Steve is very insufferable at this point. I feel like he is like stereotypical jock, like not like cool guy. I don't want to say jock, but like cool guy. Because I don't know if
Jacques
he plays
Cousteau.
sports.
Yeah, he plays
Uh,
football.
did he play football?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that plays football and basketball.
Okay. And he ends up, he's like, "Hey, Nancy, you want to come over to my house? My parents are gonna be out, you know, because my mom has to make sure my dad doesn't cheat on her," which is weird to say.
Yeah,
And
I'm not
Nancy's like,
not
"I don't
saying we
know.
don't have
It's
some weird moments.
Nancy's like, I don't know. It's a school night. Like I have to study for a test." And he's very like still trying to get in her fucking pants.
Yeah, he
Which
is.
even Barb says, like, he just wants to get in your fucking pants.
Yeah, he does.
And she, like, I guess has just fucking blinders on at this point.
I I agree. I
Especially
think
with
she
what happens
does.
in this episode.
I agree.
But we end up seeing Jonathan putting missing posters up at this point. And the Nancy and Steve and them are kind of like making fun of Jonathan for like I guess putting up posters and being kind of like a freak almost. Which is Jonathan in high school or is
I Jonathan is in high school, but I think he's not doing anything right now for it because he's looking for Will.
okay? Because I could not remember because I know Nancy and Steve are in high school
Yeah,
and eventually like they graduate high school.
Yeah, yeah. And Jonathan does that too.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I just
it's
couldn't remember.
but I wouldn't say that there's not things with Jonathan too, wherever he doesn't take off to go work a shift at his job trying to make money, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I also feel like Steve and everybody else also looks down on Jonathan too because of that poverty status, you know.
Yeah, like everybody seems to really look down on him.
Yeah, and I
On
I
on
I
them.
think yeah, and I think a lot of it's honestly because of Lonnie,
Yeah, I feel like
which
Lonnie gives him a bad rep.
which let me throw this to you. Do you think that something happened like early on we don't know about with Lonnie where he probably like either like had credit cards or stuff in Joyce's name and like screwed up like her credit and savings and everything else and then just
Well,
left?
did they have credit cards in 1983? Because I don't remember.
If not, then I had lines of credit.
I know they have credit cards in the last season because we get like actual ads with the Stranger Thing characters.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe like I don't know because I feel like Lonnie was probably like an abusive husband and like an
I could agree to
alcoholic,
that. I
and
could agree to that.
he was probably maybe trying to get like probably one of those people that has like a get rich quick schemes type of thing, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he was seemed to be very like known to others because other people mention him by name in this episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Which
I
which
mean
there's one scene I really want to talk about which we missed.
okay.
There was a scene where
That we haven't
which
gotten to.
it triggered me where like Hopper was talking to Nancy and not Nancy talking to Joyce
Joyce, yeah.
and Jonathan, and he's talking about like the phone that exploded. He's like, "Are you sure you heard Will?" And she's like, "Yeah, I think I would know my own child's voice, just like you would know your daughter's voice."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like it like takes him aback, and like you can see just in his acting where he like steps back and like kind of walks away, and he has to like recompose himself
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I think it's like maybe I don't know if it was like a year before or what, but like the death of his daughter like still haunts him, which we get like
It will
snippets of it.
it's I believe it's been a few years.
Okay.
And I will only say that and I think it may be also in the next episode or the episode after that where he does call his ex-wife
Yeah.
and she tells him that she's pregnant and
Uh
she's
huh.
already been remarried and everything. And
Yeah.
so they kind of talk a little bit about her and
Because she's not really brought up that much. She's just brought up in like flashbacks or to like 11.
yes. And I don't think we get really the full thing of that because like the first time I watched this, well not the first time. The first time I enjoyed this, um you know, I thought that maybe it was that his daughter got taken by the wife
No, she ends up
and
like
that
getting
and that
sick.
he was a single dad or yeah, he was a single dad and just couldn't see his daughter or that it happened that way because maybe he was like an overambitious cop and then you know later on we actually find out that yeah it's because she got sick and died
Yeah.
um so you know which is why their relationship couldn't get cobbled back together which is why his wife ex-wife left
Yeah.
um you know
But yeah, no, that scene, like watching that scene and just like the acting in it, like I was like, damn, like that is fucking good. It was so subtle.
yeah
Like you just if you had to really be paying attention to notice it.
yeah
You know, you could tell like the history between Joyce and Hopper.
yeah well and so to throw another show into this real quick
Okay.
I think in Marvel Zombies that this was actually one of the keystones for his voice acting in that because there is a part where White Widow ends up dying in Marvel Zombies, and he starts freaking out, and you can tell in his voice that it's almost like this scene right here.
I guess I don't watch Marvel Zombies, so I can't say anything to this.
Do it. No,
Yeah,
it's one of those, like, in you've seen Thunderbolts and stuff, like, you know how much he sees what's her face as his daughter,
yeah, yeah,
and in Zombies, like, she's gonna die, and he freaks out and loses it,
yeah. But
so
moving back into the Stranger Things and getting back into things, like Nancy gets invited to go hang out with
Steve the Hare Harrington.
Steve the Hare Harrington, and which it's funny to see like how she gets into it to where
Yeah,
like they're at like dinner. She's like, oh, like they're doing something for Will at the school on the field, like Barb's going and stuff. This is where like they're hiding, 11 at this point. And I was like, is she lying? Is she
yeah.
lying to her mom? And I was like, wait, no, they actually did an announcement when we saw Jonathan that they're gonna do like a thing for Will on the fields.
She's still lying about it.
I know she's still lying about it 'cause she doesn't want to go.
Yeah,
But we also kind of jump back to where um, we're kind of jumping all over the place a little bit.
yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
Mike ends up leaving school and going back home.
He never went to
And
school.
did he never go to school?
No, he hid behind that tree.
That's what it was. Yeah. And he goes back home to like hang out with 11, which was a funny scene.
Yeah, it. I love this scene, especially, like, I felt like that was how you and I would have been as kids with, like, our action figures, like, "Look at this one, and look at
This
this
is
one,"
this
and
is Yoda. Blah.
yeah, this is what he does,
This is my
which
dinosaur Rory.
which, I mean, the Yoda one was kind of foreshadowing, not gonna lie, looking back on it from after the first time, like, the Yoda force pushing people is kind of, what 11 does, so,
Yeah, yeah.
like, it was kind of foreshadowing that, but it's a great scene. Then, like you said at the beginning, the Rory, the dinosaur, and
It was just so random. It was,
yeah,
it was so random, and like he tries to like, you know, they try to leave the house, but his mom comes back, and he pretends to be sick, which we end up seeing like the effects that the lab had on 11, where she doesn't want to be alone, she doesn't want to be in a closed space, because we end up getting
yeah,
like flashbacks of her being put in like isolation,
yeah,
which
yeah,
fucking gut wrench every time like you see her like yelling for quote papa. Like it fucking gut wrenches. I feel like you know you should never like do that to a child.
right, right,
Like he is like fucking up, which we'll get to him later. But in a couple, like the guy who's in charge of everything, like just seeing like the effects that it has on 11 is like it ripples through this season, and
yeah,
it's something that she has to deal with for sure.
yeah, yeah. Because,
But
well, I
yeah,
mean, and we saw it with the close scene of how, you know, leave the door open this much so
yeah,
that I know, like, there's technically a way out, and then she had to kind of push it when it was Mike saying, "Hey, I need you to hide in my closet."
but
You
yeah, we're
know,
kind of jumping around honestly because I forgot what order happens and what.
Bet. Back it up. All right. So Jonathan at school, we missed where Nancy came up and talked to him and was like, "Hey, we're all kind of thinking about it, about you and him and everything. I hope it's okay." And she lied about, well, Steve and the rest of the gang care about him too. Because obviously they were saying jokes about Jonathan and stuff. Um, then we flash forward. Well, I guess we go forward. Yeah, we go forward just a little bit where Hopper also comes back to the buyer house where he's talking to them about stuff.
We already talked about that.
But where Jonathan came back out and asked him if he could go talk to Lonnie.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Okay. Um, then we find out that the buyers have 2 cars.
They have 2 cars, yeah.
Um,
But we end up actually switching over to that and like to like the night at to not to the night of because we end up seeing like Hopper and his
oh, you know what else we forgot at school?
what?
Where Dustin and Lucas bring up why Mike's not there.
Oh yes. Fucking asshole Lucas.
I had to pick that out because you brought up how much of an asshole Lucas was.
Yeah, and they end up actually going which they end up actually going back to Mike's house to talk to him at one point. And they're like, we got to tell your mom. We got to tell your mom. This is where we find out that like 11 has superpowers and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
she has seen Will in some capacity. She has seen him, and
yeah.
they take her downstairs, which I don't know how
No,
they get
not
her
yet.
past.
Not yet. So what happened is they were in the room, and that's where she tells them about Will, and then Lucas is trying to go, we're gonna go tell your mom. He keeps trying to open the door, and that's where she keeps like using her powers and closing it
Yeah.
on him. And then they go downstairs for dinner and leave her in the room, and they're
Oh,
all
that's
sitting
right.
there
That's right.
eating the meatloaf. And this is where you have the funny scene of where she starts walking down the stairs, and like you can hear the footsteps on the stairs, and his mom kind of like is starting to turn, and Mike just like, I don't know, like laughs or something, and his milk explodes in his face.
Yeah. And then Dustin slams the table.
Dustin slams the table, scaring Holly as 11 kind of gets past everybody.
I,
Which how fucking Ted didn't see her, I have no clue.
yeah. I feel like this is our most disjointed episode for a recap.
Eh, good moments.
But
It
yeah,
works
yeah.
around.
Yeah, no, that part was really funny, and to see like them, like just to figure out what they're gonna do and trying to hide 11, just the comedy works at this point.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, of them trying to like, oh, I had a muscle spasm. Uh, and they ask like, where is Will? Like, where is our friend? She's like, what's a friend? And
yeah. Now they're in the basement.
a friend is like something you would do anything for, like let them borrow your comic books or trading cards. And there's this
Yeah,
one scene where Lucas is like, yeah, and you seal your friendship with like a spit.
yeah.
And he spits in his hand and then shakes Dustin's
Dustin's.
hand. And
Yeah.
I'm just focused on the background and just look at Dustin's reaction. He's like, what the fuck, man?
Uh,
He's like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah. I always feel it too. I'm like, wait, I thought you guys were supposed to be really good friends.
Like, what the fuck? Why would you spit it in your hand and then rub it on my hands?
Yeah,
Like, just
yeah.
that look was like priceless.
Yes,
It was
yes.
like so fun because they had this real like serious scene, and in the background they're like, ugh. Which
Yeah,
they end up,
it's definitely fun.
yeah, and she ends up like sitting at the table where the D&D stuff is, and she like uses her powers to focus in on Will's like little player piece that he has,
Yeah,
and
she
they're
picks
like,
him out.
yeah, she
She
picks
picks
him
him
out.
out, which they don't. They know who it is. She didn't originally know who it was, so that
Yeah,
was kind of a little thing too, where she picked his piece out, who it was, what it was like, which is where we were talking about at the beginning of the show, where they flipped the board over.
yeah,
And so this is where Will is, and then who's there with him, and is it the bad people? And then 11 puts down the Demogorgon figure.
yeah, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? Because they don't tell you what it is. They pretty much leave it there
Yes,
at
yes,
this point. And we see like before this, but we see Hopper go over to Benny's diner to like see that Benny committed suicide, and they find out that like there was a boy there that may or may not have been Will, which we get into a lot of stuff with like Lonnie and stuff at this point. People mention Lonnie, and the Hopper takes this as a hunch, like maybe it could be Will. So they go out there to like look around and stuff and search the area. And their teacher, Mr. Clark, actually finds a piece of Eleven's
Yeah.
like hospital gown.
Which
eh,
we also
which
forgot where the old guy from Benny's Diner comes and talks to Hopper.
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And they're like, how can a kid go through this small pipe, which leads them to the facility at this point? And then we end up going from that to where Barb and Nancy
Wait.
are.
Before we get to the meat and potatoes of this, because that's the
Okay.
best part. That's what we were saving for last. Um, when the doctor and the other people come in the suits and they basically ET the buyer's house.
Yeah.
I had a question on this. So the little brick thing that's on their patio in the backyard, what is that you think?
Like what do you mean?
There's like a little brick thing and it looks like a brick mailbox almost because it stands tall and it's right on their back patio. And
Really?
it always throws me off seeing it because my first instinct is that it's some kind of pizza oven that's been broken.
I'll have to go back and
I
look
don't
at it.
think that's what it is though.
Maybe it's like a grill
I
that's been
don't
broken.
know. It throws me off every time I see it, and every time I watch it, I'm like, "What is that thing?"
I'll have to go back and look at it because I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, and it's just there. Like you'll notice it because it'll be this one thing that's sitting there, and then you see where the doctor and everybody go, and they head for the shed where they find
Yeah.
the like the ectoplasm or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, from the Demogorgon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that scene was weird.
that one thing always throws me off, and I don't know what it is.
Maybe we'll have to look into that one.
Then we get
Uh,
into the meat and potatoes.
Potatoes of this episode, I guess, where Barb really does not want to go to Steve Harrington's house, but Nancy is like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Park a couple blocks away as I strip down in the car." Which apparently she has a new bra, and that's amazing, I guess. Or surprising to Barb. And
Yeah,
like Nancy convinces Barb to go. They go, end up going to where they're outside at Steve's pool and they're drinking and stuff. And they hear like, or actually, we cut from that to uh, Jonathan, who is like trying to follow the path that Will went to. And he hears
yeah, Jonathan.
screaming. He hears screaming and he runs and he finds Nancy and the gang are out there, but he doesn't let them know that he's there. And he starts taking pictures of them, creepy pictures. Creepy
Kind of.
pictures.
Yeah. So let me ask you this on that. Do you think the buyers actually live pretty close to the Harringtons?
I think so, probably. Like maybe like the Harringtons are like a newly more developed area. Maybe.
Probably, because I feel like, the road that he pulled in on, that
Yeah.
Jonathan pulled in, is what they call Markwood,
Yeah.
right? And if Will bikes through the woods, I think it goes right behind Steve's house.
Probably, yeah.
Because whenever Nancy yelled, Jonathan was still kind of in that vicinity of where we know that he was following like Will's tracks and stuff of going down the hill.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one thing like I've always thought about it with that too is, is that there or are they so loud that Jonathan knew where they would be at to go like run
Yeah. Yeah.
X number of houses over?
Yeah. It's crazy to think about like the layout of Hawkins
Yes.
because it's so small at this moment in season one, and then we expand, like we said in episode two or episode one, where it expands later on. So,
Yeah.
like to see, I would love to see like a map of Hawkins of like who lives where, basically, because I think like Lucas and then like sort of live in the same area because they talk about how
Uh
like Lucas lives like really close to Mike,
Lucas and Mike live close together
and
and
Dustin
then
lives close to
to
Will.
Will,
Yeah.
which makes me think too that Dustin also lives close to Steve.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, 'cause
Um,
they don't really like spell it out like where everybody lives.
yeah, that would be a really cool map to see though, where it was all laid out like this is where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. And we see them like they're partying, and there aren't that many people at this get together, just like five of them.
Yeah,
Which I'm like, you couldn't get a little bit more people, I guess, to come to your little party, Steve, being such a party animal. Uh,
we know why.
we know
But
why. We know exactly
Barb
why.
was telling the truth.
Yeah, no, Barb was telling the truth at this point.
Yeah.
And we see them, and they're hanging out and stuff, and um, like Nancy like shotguns a beer, and then she convinces Barb to do it, but Barb ends up cutting her hand on I think it's like a knife or something that they're using.
Yeah,
Which
they're using a knife to try and shotgun the beer.
why would you use a sharp object on a cylindrical object?
I don't know. And why would you do it the way Barb did it?
Yeah, yeah.
That, like, okay, this is going to sound a little sexist, but growing up, boys that have pocket knives, and I'm only saying this because none of my sisters had pocket knives, none of that. I didn't know any of my female cousins have one, but you always learn turn the knife away from you. And Barb opening this can to shotgun, like she's holding the can and the knife is going like underneath her thumb almost. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. Like, if you slip, it's going into your palm. And obviously it
I
kind of
mean, it
went,
kind of did.
yeah, it went into like that little like webbing in between her thumb and her stuff and cut up her thumb. And I was like, oh my God. Ugh.
I
And
remember
it's such a tough scene.
I remember like getting a hold of a pocket knife for the first time. I
Yeah.
think it was when I was younger, and like it was my dad's pocket knife, and like I took it from him, and like it was like a little tiny pocket knife.
Was
I
it the
took it.
one of the red ones?
No, it was like
Okay.
gold. It was gold,
Okay.
is what it was, and I remember I took it and I had it in my pocket. This is a vivid fucking memory. It's like a fucking core memory.
A core
And
memory?
it's a
Yes.
it's a core memory. And I remember I had like people over like at a sleepover, and I was like just playing with the pocket knife. We were watching I think like Nightmare on Elm Street or something, and I just fucking cut my thumb.
Oh no.
I cut my thumb, and I was like, "Ow!" Like it's really sharp, and like blood just starts coming out of my hand.
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah.
So you could say you almost pulled a Barb.
And I was like, oh no, it's so much blood. And like I run to like the bathroom and stuff. And I'm like, I'm trying not to tell my dad like I fucking cut my thumb open.
What'd you do? There's not one of the nails under the couch isn't nailed all the way in, Dad.
I just remembered like I think I had to tell him, and like we had to like bandage it up.
Yeah, that's
Because
great.
it wouldn't stop bleeding.
That's great. I had three little ones, but I wasn't allowed like the bigger ones that like my dad or any of my grandpa or anybody had because those were ones like you pulled the knife out and you're like, yeah, this is like a 4-inch blade. Yeah, you're not touching this kid.
Yeah. Yeah, he
So
had like maybe like a 2-inch blade.
yeah, but like all the like movies growing up, like the kids that had the little red ones, I had one of those.
Yeah.
So
I think I had one of
yeah,
those later.
yeah.
But yeah, she ends up cutting her hand, and she ends up running off to the bathroom, and the others jump into the pool, and this is where we see Jonathan taking pictures of Nancy and Steve and them, and like they get all they're all wet 'cause they just all jump in the pool, or some get pushed in the pool, and we see Nancy going up the stairs to Steve's room, I believe, and Barb is like,
Quick
"Hey
quick
Nancy, where are you
question.
going?" Well,
Do you think that Steve slept with what's her face?
who?
The what the other girl's name is that's with Tommy H.
Oh, I don't know.
I
I don't
feel
know.
like there may be a yes in there, but I can't say that for sure.
Okay. Okay. There's this one scene I actually want to talk about too.
Okay.
after we get into this, where we see her going up the stairs and stuff, and she's like, "Oh no, Barb! Like I'm just gonna go like dry off and like kind of get a new pair of clothes." And so like Barb leaves. Barb leaves to do what, and then we like switch back over to like Hopper at his house. Who is that with Hopper in his bed? I need to know this.
I was going to ask you the same question.
Because he gets up.
I I want to say that she is from the station.
You think so?
I don't 100% know that though.
It was such a weird scene
It
that I
is out of nowhere.
don't feel like is needed in this episode because he like wakes up and he can't sleep because of like Will's missing, and he goes out to like to the porch
To
and like
smoke.
to get a smoke, and he's like, "Do you know when like what was it like the last missing person was?" And then like the last person who had like a suicide, and he names off these years, and then she's like, "Do you know the last person to like die from like freezing to death?" And that's
Yeah.
kind of like where the scene ends, and I'm like, why? Why is this here?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Like, what is this? Like, this is not moving the story along at all. It was just really, really fucking out of place. I,
Right.
I
I
just,
agree.
I mean, that's just something I had to bring up. Like, who the fuck is this woman? At first, I thought maybe it was like a flashback or something to maybe his wife, but
Yeah.
it's not his wife. It's not his ex-wife. I mean, you know, it's just never explained. I feel like it's one of those plot holes in Stranger Things. Who is this mysterious woman?
Yeah. And it throws me off too, like, because whenever like you read the subtitles and stuff for it, like I think it gives her like the name Vanessa, and I'm like,
Okay,
why is it relevant if we don't know who her character actually is?
yeah,
Like, why does that matter?
yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
I don't know. I don't think that scene matters, but we end up seeing Steve and Nancy go up to Steve's room. I think it's Steve's room, yeah, because there's like a naked girl on the wall. Um, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta dry off and change my clothes. You don't gonna get a cold." And like, she starts taking off her clothes, and he kind of like turns around to like give her some privacy, and she's like, "Steve," and like they fucked. Like she,
well, and I think so, but I also feel like it was in that sense of like it was kind of like a coercion thing. Like I don't think Nancy was prepared. Like she just kind of went with the flow of it,
yeah,
which is one of the things that I always feel bad about that for Nancy because it was kind of like
like
um
Steve kind of like let her on.
yeah, Steve kind of led her on to try and like sleep with her, but then there wasn't really any communication on her part to like wait or anything else too.
Yeah,
And I mean there's just miscommunication on the whole thing. And then that whole scene just kind of like creeps me out per se on just a lot of levels.
yeah, I would say so. When we get like the final scene where we see Barb, she's on the diving board, she's sitting down, her feet are in the water, and the blood starts dripping into the water.
And Jonathan is gone before this.
And Jonathan's gone before this, and we get our first official look at the Demogorgon because
The head of it,
Demogorgon
yeah.
takes Barb.
Yeah, we see the head of it.
Yeah, and this is where the episode ends. Which, yeah, I mean, this was an episode that was very disjointed, I feel like, at times because of our retelling of this episode
Hey,
on this podcast.
I think everybody will love that.
What
We were
did you
kind
think
of
of
doing
this?
we were kind of doing what we did with King of the Hill. Like we had B rolls going and A
I
rolls
mean,
and
they have A,
C
B, and
rolls.
C. They have A, B, and C plot holes on plot lines on this like
Yeah, yeah,
season.
yeah. So and you're not really with a group just yet. So
Yeah,
um,
things are still building up. I feel like in this season, which I like. I like that they're still building things up, and they're feeding us breadcrumbs at this point. Breadcrumbs that will lead to something bigger
yes,
and
yes,
more of a cohesive story. Which one thing I like about this is like it is definitely a slow burn. Like it is building up, which I like in this. Like which
yes.
it's a solid story of like who done it or what happened, and like it definitely hooks you in to this. I love my favorite parts of this were like just seeing the kids interact with 11
Yeah.
were my favorite
Well,
parts.
and I think a lot of you can pull out a lot of different parts, and kind of like what we touched on, a lot of stuff. You get to see more things through this that you may have missed in the first episode.
Yeah.
Like, you know, are we really that worried about looking at why if the buyers are poor in episode 1 because Will's running for his life?
Yeah.
Are we really worried about um um stuff on
Nancy.
with their board game because obviously everybody's looking for Will. Um what's going to happen because we know at some point something out of the Will Nancy relate or not Will, the Nancy Steve relationship, something was going to happen, and what was going to break? Was Nancy going to feel bad or something else? We didn't know that
Well,
fucking Barb was going to die out of it.
something broke. And we know what that was.
Yeah, it was Barb.
Yeah, it was Barb.
It was Barb.
Which no, I
Um,
mean, she doesn't technically die in this episode. I think she's like around in like season or in episode 3.
no, she dies.
Like I don't think she's like fully dead until episode 3 cuz she's like stuck in the upside down.
No, no, when it takes her, she dies.
I could have sworn she was like still alive.
Because when episode 3 starts, you're looking at Barb's dead corpse.
Is that what it was? Okay, maybe
Yeah,
I'm misremembering things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's sometime in between both of those. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Did it drag her somewhere and then do something, or what? Because I mean, you are correct. We do see the body again later on when they re-find it after everything fucking happens. But um, yeah, I mean, there's so much I feel like to this episode though that we are leading. I would say with our best foot forward. That were that were parts that I feel like everybody listening that are fans will probably be like, yeah, I understand what it's like to explain that and whatnot. Because that's kind of what I feel like season 1 actually is.
I mean, there were so many moving pieces in this episode.
Yes, yes. And
And
we don't 100% know.
I don't want to say that's like a detriment to this episode,
No, I don't
but
feel like.
trying to explain it all is a big detriment.
Well, other than just pointing shit out, I mean,
Yeah.
that was. Why does Lonnie have a really nice car, but he still looks like he lives in a shitty house? Oh, that's another scene that I wanted to bring up to you. Why when Jonathan first came in, did Lonnie come in and almost like choke him?
I think because he didn't know who he was. I think
I don't
maybe
think
it.
so. Because I
I
think he did it and then he kind of like backed up. I really think that Lonnie doesn't give a shit about his kids.
I mean, no, we already know Lonnie doesn't give a shit about his kids.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's because he like heard somebody in there, like, oh, somebody's breaking into my house, and either he realizes that it's Jonathan, and like Jonathan like pushes him away and he tries to hug him and shit. He's
Yeah.
like, get the fuck
Well,
off me. He's like,
but
oh, you're stronger.
she says he's out back. So I mean,
Yeah.
walking through that doorway, you would see who that is.
I guess, yeah, but maybe he hasn't seen Jonathan in several years. So maybe he didn't know Jonathan at first. My
I don't know.
guess.
I don't I don't think it's been that long, but
I don't know. I mean, because
because
there was also that scene where like we see
Lonnie makes
Jonathan and
us.
Will like bonding over the. Oh, we also
Oh yeah, should I stay or should I go?
yes, because we missed the whole thing with Joyce. Oh my god,
That's
we
true.
missed the whole thing with Joyce.
Where he turned the radio up. Yeah.
Joyce freaking out because of the radio and shit.
Oh
That
yeah, we did miss that.
we forgot about that part.
Okay, rewind. Start episode over. Yeah, well, we can kind of tell that Will's going around and touching different items in the house
Yeah,
to like illuminate them, which I have to say that's one of my favorite ways of like figuring out that there's another world is like by somebody communicating. Because at this point, from other sources that I've watched, I first thought that Will was a ghost.
I did too. Until we get to like season 4 and they actually start explaining things in the Upside Down.
Yeah, yeah,
Like this part, like I thought he was like a ghost, like controlling stuff, especially with like the wall, where the
yeah,
wall starts like pushing itself out and stuff. Which we find out that Joyce is like alone at home and she
yeah.
freaks out and shit because like
Which is like fucking poltergeist.
yes,
Which like that I really want to know if it was true or if it was Joyce at the same time having like some kind of like lapse of imagery
well
in
the
her
thing
head.
is like I don't know if they ever explained the thing trying to come out the wall.
Yeah. Well, and we never see anything do that again, though,
Yeah, I
which is
guess
just
other than like the
weird.
Demogorgons,
Yeah, where they just rip it open. They're like,
just rip
"Fuck
it
you,
open.
oh yeah, yeah, um, yeah, yeah." And
Yeah,
of course, it's in the scope of all this stuff. The last thing that happens in that scene, that at this point, as we've went through this entire episode, that I feel like as a human being really pisses me off is we had one fucking phone that burned up. We get this new one, get it plugged in, and it fucking burns up like
oh,
automatically.
oh yes, yes. Yeah, she just wasted that money that she's
Yeah,
gonna have to pay back.
yeah, uh,
Oh,
yeah. Like that to me is like, son of a bitch.
yeah, son of a bitch. Like, no, it was a pretty like terrifying scene with Joyce like trying to walk around the house, and be like, Jonathan, Jonathan, and like the music starts blaring, and then cuts off and starts blaring again, and she runs away,
Yeah,
and she's like starts to piece things together. Like this might be Will.
yeah.
Like Will might be talking
Which
to me through the lights.
this is the next one, right? Where she goes and gets,
The
or is it
light.
the one after one where she gets the Christmas lights?
It's either the next episode or the one after,
Okay,
but I
okay.
think it's the next episode.
Because I know at one point he's going to talk to her through like one of the lamps, and then that's when that spawns her to go get the lights.
Yeah, he like talks to her through the Christmas lights.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, solid episode for the most part, even though we can't remember shit in it.
We just jumped around. Hey, buddy, like,
I don't know what that says about us as podcasters.
no, 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 forget that. Maybe I could have willed you in a little bit because you were going, and then you'd start talking, and I was like, "Where are you going with this?" That's why I was like, "Okay, we got to back up real quick. This
Here's the
happened."
thing,
Okay,
like everything like fucking bled together in my
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, but I will say, as a savor of this episode, with that this is one of those episodes that I will agree with you that everything happens fast, it happens a lot, the scene changes a lot. We have so many characters that we're following because nobody is actually together on any of this shit, really. We get less scenes the farther in we get because everybody teams up and they work together, and then this
Yeah.
happens you know but right now it's almost like we're working with 6 different plot points all at the same time. So like you said, you getting confused, like I completely understand that. And I think that there are probably a lot of other people that will rewatch this and stuff and do the same thing you did, where they can go, well, yeah, you can bring up like Lonnie, and I can tell you everything that happens with Lonnie. But at the same time, they're not going to remember, well, this happened with Lonnie, and then this happened with Hopper, and then this happened with the kids, and this happened.
I'm excited for, is it this season or next season where we get the Dustin Steve team up?
Next season.
Okay, that's my favorite pairing of the entire show
Yeah,
is
yeah,
Dustin and Steve.
yeah. Because at the end of this season will be where we have,
Steve, they have that shift where Steve becomes good.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's the little team up with Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve.
yeah, yeah,
And then that will kind of like segue us into how he develops more relationship with the kids in season 2.
yeah. I will
Um,
say, not this is going to jumping forward into season 5.
yeah,
No spiked bat in season 5 for Steve.
yeah. It always it throws me off sometimes that like every image we have, because I bought those one Stranger Things carpets,
Yeah.
and it's him with the bat, and I'm like, I don't really remember him using the bat much after this
No,
first.
he brings it back
Like
occasionally, like
like
for
I
like the
know
big
he
fight.
has it here and there, but I just don't. It's not iconic after season 1.
I
I
don't
don't
know,
feel
because he
like
brings it back in season 2.
he does. He has it when they're carrying the thing with
Yeah.
Dustin, but then it's almost like there's not. He carries it, but it's irrelevant to an
Yeah.
extent.
Anyway, Steve is like my favorite character in the show.
Right?
He becomes in season 1. He becomes my favorite character.
See, and the funny thing is deep down, we're jumping forward just a little bit. Deep down, for me, I must be like a Dustin character because my two favorite characters are Dustin's mentors, which is hilarious.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that.
Which we will get into more of this. Again, I know, like Mike is saying, this episode was kind of hectic. We were all over the place, but we also covered what you guys understand and love. So don't feel bad about it.
Which is Stranger Things.
Well, I mean, plot holes and shit, and
Yeah, yeah.
something about the upside down.
But anyways,
Anyways, I'm glad that you were here to rant with us about Stranger Things. Shoot us some messages on our Otakuology Instagram or whatever, because obviously, if you're listening to this, you're a Stranger Things freak as we are. Um, and you can catch us in different places. Where can they catch you at, Mike?
we can find me at the Otaku Mike on YouTube as well as Otakuology on Instagram and YouTube. Make sure to rate and review our podcast. It helps people find our podcast. Share the podcast to all your friends and family, alive or dead, or if they're in the upside down, share it with them as well. Uh, you know, but with Jin, where can they find you?
Sure. And you can find me at Manga Restart on Instagram and also Bard's Tavern for D&D type stuff, which I guess we kind of fucking talked about it with Stranger Things. So you can find me there as well. And we also look forward to you joining us for next episode. But until then, see you next Tuesday.